we're trying to obviously enhance the communication skills at all times. And when I do the training with coaches, I always say, listen, we are in tennis or pickleball, but we are really here for this purpose. It's therapeutic in nature. And so the volunteers are also there. We have high school students, college students. They oftentimes are not in our world either as SLPs. So they need training as well on how to communicate with the participants and how to use the banner with the visuals and maybe an AAC device. So there's a lot going on the courts,
Yeah.
but SLPs are super important because parents are saying, wow, my child is talking so much more and it memorizes the schedule for tennis and they're making new friends. So it's really neat to see how much of an impact it makes in their life.
Hey there, and welcome to the Speechy Side Up podcast. My name is Vanita Litvack, and I am so grateful you're here. I'm an ASHA certified speech language pathologist, author, and augmentative and alternative communication consultant who is obsessed with helping SLPs like you stop reinventing the wheel and connect with other SLPs in the trenches. Have you ever wondered how other SLPs seem to be doing it all with ease? Well, around here, you'll get to hear firsthand how SLPs are really getting things done while keeping evidence-based practice and self-care in mind. Think of this as a coffee date with your SLP friends. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while we learn together. Today, I'm joined by Lisa Pugliese-LacCoix. Lisa is a USPTA and PTR elite certified tennis professional and a certified speech language pathologist in the field of autism. For 20 years, Lisa has specialized in the evaluation and treatment of autistic children and adults. A former collegiate tennis player at Duke University and a University of Florida NCAA tennis team champion, followed by WTA tournaments, Lisa enjoys combining her tennis experience and speech therapy background to teach the sport to autistic children and adults. Lisa, thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Vanita, for inviting me. It's an honor to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your nonprofit organization and just your awards and accolades and everything that you've accomplished so far within the speech language pathology community, with your organization, and then within the tennis community?
Sure. So I started Love Serving Autism as an SLP and as a, Racket sports professional in 2017. And since then, the organization has definitely grown in 7 years. It started at the Palmer School for Autism as an after-school program, and now we're in 35 locations in Florida and about 13 out-of-state programs. So it's definitely grown. The racket sports industry, and I say racket sports because we've advanced from tennis to pickleball now. So we teach both sports for our group, and the racket sports industry has really been inclusive in the past few years, and they're starting to award organizations such as like myself running Love Serving Autism with unique awards. One was the 2024 Humanitarian of the Year award for the Professional Tennis Registry, which is an international tennis certification organization. Another amazing award was the 2022 Eve Craft USTA National Volunteer of the Year award. And again, the tennis industry and pickleball industries are recognizing the importance of inclusion. So we've come a long way. We have a ways to go, but it's exciting to see these advancements.
That's amazing. And just to give everybody a little bit of background, Lisa and I worked together during my clinical fellowship. So back in 2014. And it's just amazing to see like how far you've come. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, Vanita. We have known each other for a while, and I just one day had a vision to start a nonprofit organization as an SLP. So here we are.
Well, I love that I actually use your example. I texted you to tell you this last year, but I use the example of the organization that you started in my like free webinar that like inspires people to start a business because I love like you're like a perfect example of someone who's taken their passion and interest like in tennis and married it with speech language pathology to create a business. It's so cool.
Thank you. I knew in my heart I wanted to do more, both in tennis and in the classroom. And I was about maybe 10 years into my career as an SLP. And I started recognizing, I miss tennis a little bit. I'm always in the classroom. And then I was on the tennis court saying, well, how do I connect the dots to teach autistic children and adults tennis, and how do I do this? So it took a while for it to come together, but one day I just took a leap of faith and said it's time to get something started. So that's where it all began.
Amazing. So
Thank
do
you.
you still get time to play yourself?
Well, working on it. My husband is a tennis professional, so he's great to practice with. But one of my goals in 2025 is really to be more engaging in the community, spend more time with friends. I've been so busy building the business. I feel that, it's not always easy when you start something by yourself, especially as an SLP. We're type A, we're doers and we have our agendas. And so I want to always make sure I'm completing my goals. So this year I really want to get back more into tennis. I mean, some of my friends now play pickleball, so they're trying to encourage me to play a little bit too.
Oh, fun. So tell us about the mission of Love Serving Autism.
Well, we provide specialized therapeutic racket sports instruction to children and adults with autism and developmental challenges. We integrate speech, occupational, physical, and ABA therapies on the courts, meaning a child or an adult may register in our program and we pick a goal for them. It may be a communication goal, a social skills goal, a motor coordination goal, a behavioral goal, and the therapist will work on that specific skill and track it over a 6-week periods throughout the year. We do partner with schools and public tennis centers. Sometimes we have classes during PE instruction. It could be after school or on the weekends in the community.
I love that so much. What is like the future of Love Serving Autism? Like, what's your big mission? Are you willing to share that here?
Sure. Well, we're still evolving, and those ideas and thoughts are still kind of a work in progress, but I have to say definitely a facility. I envision us, in addition to the partnerships in the community and the different tennis centers and locations and schools, I envision us having a headquarters, a center, an inclusive center where children and adults can come learn the developmental skills of tennis and pickleball and also receive therapies. And so we don't yet have a facility. We would love to open one in Palm Beach County, specifically maybe Southern Palm Beach County. So that is a goal. A lot of times when we apply for grants, grant funders will ask for our facility address for a site visit. So we typically invite them to visit programs at different schools and different tennis centers, but it would be nice to have our own center. So that is a
I
big
love that.
goal. Yeah, that's a goal. And also, I have to say, just getting more therapists onto the courts throughout all of our locations in state and out of state, and just doing more training and education for therapists. So we're working on a certification program as well for coaches and therapists.
That's amazing. And I imagine like with this facility, you could even employ autistic adults too.
Yes.
So you'd be providing jobs. That's amazing.
Some of our young adults who are in our program are begging to work for Love Serving Autism. One of our participants, I know you know him, he said, "Well, once you have a cafe in your facility, I'll run the cafe, Miss Lisa. I'll run everything. What do you need me to do?" And his mom said, "Please, open the cafe soon," because he's been talking about it for years. So
Oh,
just takes some funding on our part, some work, but we're working on different grant opportunities and also projects with the state of Florida with legislation. So it just takes a while to connect all the dots, but we are moving forward and trying to attain that goal.
that's amazing. Yeah, I imagine you could have, do you do like tournaments too for your organization?
We don't really have tournaments yet. We were going to start like a league, like an adaptive tennis league,
Mm,
and we briefly did it, but families would have to like travel to different
mm.
locations and it was a little challenging managing it. So we don't have like any kind of structured competitive opportunities yet. And a Special Olympics has like the regional and state games. So some of our athletes or participants actually join Special Olympics, so they're in Love Serving Autism, but they can compete in Special Olympics. So someday maybe we'll have our own tournament. The USTA is U.S. Tennis Association, and they have a national adaptive championships every year in Orlando at their big tennis center. And they invite like 30 of the top athletes with autism and developmental challenges on court, and they play doubles with a unified partner. So someone who is neurotypical can play with a partner who maybe has autism, and it's very competitive, and it's like a 2-day weekend tournament. So I do get involved in that, and I do some training. I do some workshops during that time, but we don't yet have our own a tournament.
That's so cool. I mean, the possibilities are literally endless. It's so exciting. So you said that you want to get more like speech therapists involved around the country. How do racket sports enhance communication skills for autistic children and adults?
Well, when I first started Love Serving Autism, I only had experience in the classroom and in clinical settings. So I wasn't sure how this would all work on a tennis court. But having now seen in action, and I know Vinita, you visited our programs a few times, there's so much communication going on during classes. We really needed to capture it, especially for grant funding. They want us to document the metrics and the impact of the program. So now, for instance, I, as an SLP, would walk out onto a court. Maybe there's, say, 10 children in a class, and maybe I'm with an occupational therapist as well. And we each work with 5 children. And say I pick a goal for a child, they need to work on their social skills or their greetings, greeting the coach. So again, the tennis space is it's a therapy session for them. And it's really great to facilitate expressive language skills and receptive language skills and pragmatic language because they're always communicating, especially in a group setting. And the coaches don't always know how to help elicit language and how to facilitate it because they're not trained in it like we are. A lot of them are certified tennis professionals. So it's great when therapists are out there and they're modeling and they're providing, they're working with the AAC devices or they're bringing visuals. We do have a banner now with visuals, which is pretty neat. It has a visual schedule. We hang every class, a visual schedule, a communication board, and the coaches is literally just hanging on the fence. And it's great. It's low tech, but it's great for the participants to be able to utilize and use those visuals to communicate during class. So there's a lot going on, and we're finally now measuring some of that, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're like collecting data for these grants. And you have some AAC devices as well. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, sure. A few of the grants we incorporate communication technology and AAC. We're still piloting portable devices for the participants because it's tough to obviously hold an iPad and a tennis ball at the same time. But we have Big Macs, and then I don't have it with me, it's in a bin below me,
Oh,
but
I
we
probably
have
have it. Hold on.
we
You
have
keep
the
talking.
little
I'll grab it.
okay. We have portable devices like the watch, that they can wear that has voice output. So again, we want to make the most of these opportunities during tennis so that like before they hit the ball, they can push a button that says, hit or I'm ready or let's go. And I'd say 30 to 40% of our participants are minimally verbal or non-speaking. So it's important that we're innovative and we create opportunities for them to utilize AAC during class. And the parents don't often bring the devices, which we're encouraging them to, even during school hours. The kids will pack their devices in their backpack and go outside and they shut them off before tennis. So we're really trying to get them to use the devices more.
I have it. It's like in a
Oh,
box under a box. So
okay, no
it would take
worries.
longer, but yeah, you have
Yeah.
like the wrist watch, right?
Yes,
And then you
yes,
have the Big
yes,
Macs too,
yes.
and then the low tech
And
visuals.
so low tech visuals. Some of the participants wear like iPods, like iPod Touch, I believe, and then they have
Mhm.
like Pro Logo or something programmed. So we see all different types of AAC, and so it's great. But again, I think I want to do a better job. That's another goal for me this year is really to get more involved in the AAC, get more devices on court, help train the coaches as to the importance of why we use this communication technology. Because without it, some of the children and adults don't have voice.
Mhm.
And they're out there playing tennis and they're having a blast. But when we do a team cheer at the end saying, we love tennis, they're not able to express themselves. So we're just trying to make sure that we provide all the resources and tools possible for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And giving the coaches the strategies that they need as well. I actually noticed since, a lot of the kiddos are autistic, when I got to observe a couple of times, you actually have a lot of gestalt language processors. So a lot of echolalia. So I was targeting that completely differently as well. And this was like I did that maybe 8 months ago, my observation. It's been a while now, and that was, like, when I had just learned about Gestalt language processing. Now I've been working with clients who are Gestalt language processors for years and seeing them go from non-speaking to verbal and seeing the effects of using Gestalt language processing approach versus an analytic language approach, and so there's so many
Mhm.
facets of this, right? Like, not only you're trying to teach tennis, but you're trying to teach them communication skills in the same
Exactly.
sense.
Absolutely. And we're training the coaches on how to engage the participants and to help also kind of, they're not really directly treating them, but we're trying to obviously enhance the communication skills at all times. And when I do the training with coaches, I always say, listen, we are in tennis or pickleball, but we are really here for this purpose. It's therapeutic in nature. And so the volunteers are also there. We have high school students, college students. They oftentimes are not in our world either as SLPs, so they need training as well on how to communicate with the participants and how to use the banner with the visuals and maybe an AAC device. So there's a lot going on the courts,
Yeah.
but SLPs are super important because parents are, even through testimonials, are saying, wow, my child is talking so much more and it memorizes the schedule for tennis and they're making new friends. We had a bowling party and all their friends are from tennis. So it's really neat to see how much of an impact it makes in their life. Even if they don't have a lot of words expressively, it
Mhm.
still means a lot to them, as my point. So I really think that even if you don't mind me saying, Benita, if you don't have tennis experience at all, if you've never touched a tennis racket, if you've never played tennis, you 100% can still walk onto a tennis court as an SLP and work with the child or an adult and still help them attain these skills and feel successful. It's not something that you need to bring a tennis racket and you need to start playing tennis by any means. Maybe I know if you can tell your experience as well, Benita, about it, but I feel comfortable in a tennis court because I grew up in tennis. But I understand if an SLP or an OT or a PT doesn't have that level of experience, they may say, "Well, that's not for me." But once they go one time and they see, oh, I think I could do that. We follow the schedule. We pick a few goals for the children. We start to track the goals and we help facilitate language skills. They end up loving it. It's just a bit intimidating, maybe at first, if it's not something they're accustomed to.
Yeah, no, like when I started 8 months ago, or when I went 8 months ago, I had never really played tennis, never had like tennis lesson, and I didn't play. That was the thing. I didn't play that day. I was there to support the coaches and support the what do you call them? Students or participants?
Usually
Kids.
participants.
Okay,
Yeah,
participants. The
participants. Yeah.
participants, and just to see, like, what the AAC needs were, and in that particular group, a lot of them were verbal, and so there wasn't a lot of AAC need there,
Right.
but I think if you have like, basic knowledge of core vocabulary and use a neurodiversity affirming approach, then you can really help out the coaches with their communication style and then help out the participants in communicating their needs throughout it.
Absolutely. And you're even helping the parents as well because parents are at the classes, maybe not at the PE one during school hours, but especially in the community on the weekends, parents are there and at least one caregiver is there at all time. And they're watching you as an SLP and they're learning on how to communicate better with their child, because they need training too. So it's a whole team approach for sure. So, and I know Vanita, you said you now play tennis and you enjoy it and you're starting to play more. So you never know,
Yeah.
you could learn a new sport by doing this.
Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't go and play right away, like, after that
Right.
experience, but maybe it was just, like, in the back of my head, like, "I kinda wanna try this at some point." And I love that you're doing pickleball because if someone doesn't want to stick with tennis for the long run, then they could pick up pickleball pretty quickly and be able to participate.
Yes, I was at an event on Saturday night at the Public School for Autism. They had their annual dinner gala, and I did go. And one of the moms came running up to me and said, Miss Lisa, are you teaching pickleball yet? And I said, yeah. She said, perfect, because my son really doesn't love to run all around the tennis court, but he seems to like pickleball. He can rally
Mm.
better. He could get to the ball faster. It's a smaller court. And I said, yes, we are introducing pickleball now. So she was so excited to hear that. So so every participant's different, whether a child or whether they're an adult. And it's all hand-eye coordination skills, obviously. And with with motor apraxia, it can be challenging for some of them, but pickleball seems to be easier for them to learn, right away versus tennis. It takes a little longer.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think like as you're talking, the 3 biggest benefits that I'm seeing that come out of this is the movement aspect. So we know that more movement equals communication. The kids are maybe lower on the regulation scale, that incorporating some movement or sensory strategies can help increase that level of communication, but also the community piece. And then like racket sports, which I recently learned are a lifelong sport. So, with soccer, that's a little harder to play as you get older, but you see like people well into their 70s to even like 90s in some cases being able to play tennis. So, you're teaching them a skill that they'll be able to use for a long time.
Definitely. I mean, and just to list some of the benefits, like you said, which is probably your original question, but I get excited, so I go off on tangents. But I would have to say, mental health, mental well being is one because they're socializing, they're around others. Fitness, obviously, is another one. Hand eye coordinate or motor coordination, communication skills, and just really, I think it's in general like life skills because they're learning listening and respect and sportsmanship and the parents love to see that, oh, they're being respectful at tennis, they're listening at tennis, and then with the goal for it to generalize obviously into the home and school and vocational setting. So life skills, character development, that's an important part of our programming too.
That's awesome. So, why is it important for SLPs to be willing to try new treatment settings? Like, what are the benefits for their clients?
Well, I think there's benefits for their clients and also for themselves. I think benefits for their clients would really be like the generalization of skills, learning flexibility, being out in the community. As you know, I'm sure many of you have seen when you work with one child autism in a school building and you leave and they see you at Publix, they're like, who are you? You're supposed to be in the classroom, right? So it's interesting to see how that all connects. But I think that parents oftentimes are hesitant to try something new because they don't know if their child will like it, or even an adult if they like it. But I think that the more parents take a step out of their comfort zone a bit and say, we need to change it up. We need recreation. We need movement. Like you said, we needed our help with communication skills. Yeah, they're so happy to see that their child, made it through day one and they want to go back. And it's like a game changer for a lot of them. And not only that, but from the SLP perspective, it's kind of refreshing to go to a tennis class. It's something different. I know the SLPs have huge caseloads in schools and clinics, and I think it can help with burnout, the feeling of potential burnout, which I know I felt throughout my career at times when we're just like, wow, we're pushing ourselves and we have so many children to treat and adults and going on a tennis court, it's just something unique and different and fun. So I think that's another reason I'm encouraging SLPs to try it.
Yeah, I love that. So, if SLPs are interested in getting involved, how can they?
Well, we do have our website, loveservingautism.org, and a best contact would be the info at loveservingautism.org. So if an SLP is interested to learn more and contact me, I'd first reach out to the info at loveservingautism.org, and then I will follow up and connect with you. Also, we have these social media channels where you can learn more about who we are. We post programming photos, events. We have a YouTube channel so you can watch a video about what the program looks like in action. And as an SLP, you're always welcome to just contact me and say, I'm not sure about this, but I'm interested. Can you tell me more? And you're welcome to just go out and even shadow or watch one of the other therapists do it before you actually try yourself. So, it doesn't need to be, yes, I want to do this and you're fully immersed right away. You could take your time and as far as locations, they are listed on our website. So we have a map, but we have like different for Florida. We have most of our programs in Florida, and then we have out of state. So, you're welcome to kind of look on our website, click on programs, and find where we're located in different areas. And grant funding does pay for the therapist, so you will be paid for your time on the court. But we do ask that you take data, so I would train you on that piece.
Amazing. This is awesome. Lisa, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to connecting with you more.
Thank you, Vanita. I think it's wonderful what you're doing with your company. I learn a lot from you all the time. I'm happy we met at the Public School for Autism, and I'm here really to encourage all the SLPs to step out on the courts and try something new. And if you have any questions, please contact me at any time.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. By the way, have you joined the SSU crew yet? By joining, you get access to the free goods section on our website, plus podcast updates, special event notifications, and therapy inspiration. You can sign up at bit.ly/join SSU crew, all lowercase, or just find the link in this episode description. Also, don't forget to take a screenshot of this episode so that you can always refer back to it, and share it on social media if you really love the topic. Take care, and remember to always fill your speechy side cup first before you can pour into others.